Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we are opening up a file that it really showcases the terrifying peak of organizational ability in a serial predator.
Yeah, it's a chilling one.
We're examining the 2012 disappearance of an 18-year-old barista, Samantha Koenig, in Anchorage, Alaska. And, the hunt that followed for Israel Keys.
This is really a deep dive into strategy, I think. The source material we have, the FBI investigation, local police work, even Key's own confession. It makes one thing totally clear.
What's that?
His methods, they were designed from the ground up to exploit weaknesses in modern law enforcement. The logistics of it all.
So our mission today is to really dissect how he operated and how the trail of technology, kind of ironically, is what led to his capture in the end.
Exactly. The very thing he tried to use as a misdirection.
I think that's the most chilling part for me, the sheer calculation. Okay, let's jump right in. The morning of February 2nd, 2012.
Right.
A young barista, he arrives for his shift at the Common Grounds coffee kiosk in Anchorage, and he knows immediately something is very, very wrong.
And this small, brightly colored teal kiosk, it becomes the initial crime scene, though, they don't know that yet.
And the first irregularity.
The employee entrance door was already unlocked. And Samantha, the young woman who worked the closing shift the night before, she was known for being really responsible.
Right, so that's a huge red flag. And the inside of the shop, it pointed to more than just a security lapse. It looked like a really rushed exit.
Totally. Napkins, cups, towels, all the supplies were just left out. It suggests she just walked away in the middle of her shift, didn't even clean up.
And then the cash register. Unlocked, all the money gone.
So the initial conclusion is pretty obvious. Robbery.
But that gets complicated, and it gets complicated fast because of the timeline from Samantha's boyfriend, Dwayne.
Yeah, he was supposed to pick her up around 8 p.m. the night before, February 1st, but he was late. When he gets there, the shop is dark, it's closed.
And his first thought isn't foul play.
No, not at all. He thinks she's just angry with him. They'd just had what he called an ugly fight over text. She accused him of cheating.
So, in his mind, it's a teenage drama thing. He drives over to her father, James's house.
And while they're there, trying to figure this all out, a text comes through to Dwayne's phone.
From Samantha's number.
From her number. And the text, it gives what seems like a totally rational explanation.
She's upset, needs time to think, she'll be with friends for a couple of days, and she asks Dwayne to tell her father.
Right. So on its face, this message supports the whole idea that she just left on her own.
But this is the first critical moment. It's where intuition just completely overrides the logic of the situation. Her father, James, he doesn't buy it for a second.
No. And what's so fascinating is that while the police are, initially focused on the missing money and the relationship drama, James knew his daughter.
He'd been her father since she was 2. They were very close.
Extremely. And he found it, and this is his quote, very uncharacteristic, that she would ignore all of his calls, his texts, and more than that she wouldn't contact him directly to say she was okay.
So that suspicion, that gut feeling, is what actually pushes him to file the missing person report.
Exactly. And that's what gets the ball rolling.
So, okay, police are involved, they know money's missing, and they settle on this theory. Samantha did it. She robbed the place and took off.
And you can see why. No signs of a struggle outside, no forced entry, and that key detail, the panic button under the counter, hadn't been pressed.
It sounds pretty solid on paper.
It does, but if you connect this to the bigger picture, it was just deeply flawed from the start. You have to question why the police assumed that a lack of a struggle meant it was voluntary.
Right. And the weather in Anchorage, leaving on foot with no car, no plan, it's miserable. It's almost impossible.
And nobody had seen her. None of her friends knew where she was. The police were just, they were operating under a false premise.
And that premise gets completely shattered later that day.
When the owner of the coffee shop brings in the surveillance footage.
And this grainy, silent video just changes everything. It goes from a missing person and robbery case to a full-blown high-stakes kidnapping.
The key part happens around 8 p.m. on February 1st. You see Samantha, she's working alone, she seems careful.
She takes a drink order.
Right, from someone you can't see. He turns to deliver it, and when she turns back, her whole demeanor just changes instantly.
She steps back, her arms go up like in surrender.
She turns off the lights, kneels down with her back to the window for about a minute. The coercion is just, it's undeniable.
You can see she's being directed. She opens the register, hands cash out to this shadowy figure.
But it's not just a robbery. The man, he's wearing a big sweatshirt and a hat. He reaches all the way through the window to tie her hands.
He's inside the window space with her.
Then he leaps through the window, slams it shut, puts a gun in her back, and just marches her out the employee door to a white pickup truck.
So the whole police theory just collapses.
It failed because they assumed a lack of resistance meant cooperation, when in fact, Keyes had achieved total immediate control the second he showed that weapon.
So now the mission is totally different. It's a kidnapping. But for 3 just agonizing weeks, the trail goes completely cold.
The footage is just too grainy. Can't identify the man, can't identify the truck, nothing.
Then February 24th. 3 weeks after she disappeared, the kidnapper makes contact again.
Yeah, Dwayne gets a text. It directs him to a bulletin board in a public park, which tells you the perpetrator had been planning this next move for a while.
And this is the start of the whole ransom plot. They find a Ziploc bag taped up. Inside, there's a typed ransom note.
And, crucially, a proof-of-life photo.
Which must have been such a temporary but just agonizing relief for the family.
Oh, for sure. In the photo, Samantha looks dazed, but she's alive. And she's next to a copy of the Anchorage Daily News from February 13th.
So that means she was alive for at least a week after she was taken.
Right, and the demand is specific. James has to deposit $30,000 into Samantha's account, and supposedly she'd be released 6 months later.
James follows the FBI's instructions, of course. He deposits a portion of the money, and they wait for a move.
And if we look at this analytically, the ransom was Keyes' main strategic deception. It was never about releasing her. It was about creating this long, complex money trail.
A logistical problem.
A huge logistical problem. Something to confuse investigators, buy him time, let him cover his tracks.
And that logistical problem shows up immediately. 3 fast withdrawals in Anchorage.
Always by a figure in a ski mask and big sunglasses. They'd see him on the ATM camera, but by the time the FBI got there,
He was gone, every time.
then the account goes completely silent for over a week, which confirms he's mobile, he's on the move.
And on March 7th, the trail lights up again, but now it's bouncing all over the Southwest.
Arizona, then New Mexico, then Texas. Keyes is executing his plan perfectly, creating maximum distance from the crime scene.
So the chase is now just following these digital breadcrumbs across the country. And finally, in Texas, they get the breakthrough they need.
And it comes from an ATM surveillance video.
But it's not the man this time.
No, it's the car, a small white Ford Focus. They see him driving east on a Texas highway. And that's the moment the problem shifts from chasing anonymous withdrawals to finding a very specific vehicle.
March 13th, a Texas patrolman spots that white Ford Focus in a hotel parking lot.
He just waits for 34-year-old Israel Keyes to walk out, get in the car, and then pulls him over.
For the slightest pretext, right? Going 2 miles per hour over the speed limit.
Yep. Keyes hands him an Alaskan license. And the officer knows. He knows he's got him.
And the evidence in the car is just irrefutable.
Oh, yeah. In the trunk, they find the ski mask, clothing that matches the ATM surveillance, a gun.
And most critically,
Samantha's cell phone and her debit card. The chase was over.
Keyes denies it at first, but when they lay out the evidence, he basically negotiates his confession.
It's unbelievable. He demands an Americano coffee, a peanut butter Snickers bar, and a cigar.
And he confesses. He tells them the ransom plot was a lie from the very first minute. He saw Samantha, his plan changed, and he decided to, in his words, steal her, not just the money.
The whole ransom was just a tool to keep her obedient, to give her false hope.
Let's talk about that night, February 1st and 2nd. This is where the sheer calculated pathology is just. It's impossible to ignore.
It really is.
After sending that fake text to Dwayne, Keyes drives around Anchorage for hours. He even stops to let Samantha use the restroom and for him to smoke cigars.
He's just completely in control, meticulously calculating every move. Around midnight, he drives to his own house.
To his own house where his 10-year-old daughter and his girlfriend are asleep inside.
He makes Samantha lie down in the back seat under some tarps, and he just goes inside. That switch from killer to father is terrifying.
Then he takes her to his shed, blindfolds her, sits her on an upturned bucket, and secures her to the wall with a rope anchored around her neck. He's playing a loud radio to mask any noise.
And he does these bizarre things to seem like he's providing comfort. Turns on space heaters, gives her cigarettes. It's this twisted scenario of false care.
Which is all part of his psychological control.
Exactly. He comes back later, gives her water, lies that the ransom's in motion, that her dad is cooperating. And then he performs this unbelievably cruel trick.
He unscrews the anchors from her neck and cuts the ties on her wrists.
Right. letting her relax, letting her think the ordeal is moving into a new phase, a waiting game.
She thinks the nightmare is ending.
And seconds later, he grabs her and ties her up again. And he admitted this time it was, quote, much more thoroughly and much more tightly.
Oh my God.
And Keyes noted that at that specific moment, Samantha looked up at him with just a look of total resignation. That's the moment he strategically destroyed any hope she had left.
He wanted to strip her of any will to resist before the final act.
That's exactly it.
He goes back to the shed around 4 in the morning on February 2nd. After assaulting her, he stands over her.
And Samantha looks up at him and stoically asks the question no one should ever have to ask. Are you going to kill me?
And Keyes just says, yes.
He drove a knife into her back and then choked her until she stopped moving. He made a point of telling investigators that she never made a sound.
But the horror isn't over. Not even close.
No. This is that detachment we have to pause on. He showers, he wakes up his daughter, and at 5 a.m., 1 hour after the murder, they take a cab to the airport,
For a 2-week luxury cruise to New Orleans.
leaving Samantha's body locked in the shed the entire time.
That vacation, that immediate, total emotional break, it's a profound degree of dissociation. But he still needed to generate the proof of life photo for the ransom plot he was still running.
So after he gets back from the cruise, he retrieves her body, which he chillingly said still looked fairly lively.
And he stages it.
He dresses her in new clothes, applies heavy makeup, braids her hair, and then In this truly disturbing act of manipulation, he stitched her eyelids open to make her look alert for the picture with the dated newspaper.
It was all a performance for the FBI long after she was already dead.
The logistics of it are just staggering. After he takes the photos, he chops her body into pieces and disposes of her in a nearby frozen lake.
So now we have to pull back and really look at the scope here, because Samantha Koenig was not his first victim.
Not by a long shot. The investigation confirmed he was a serial killer who targeted people completely at random,
Why?
simply because he said he enjoyed watching them die.
And this is where Keyes' profile becomes so distinct from other serial killers we study. He wasn't limited to one hunting ground or a specific victim type.
Precisely. Keyes operated using what he called kill kits. These were just caches of weapons, cash, tools that he'd hidden all across the United States.
And they served a strategic purpose.
A huge one. No matter where he traveled, he could just dig up a prepositioned kid and target a random stranger. It completely minimized the risk of traveling with any incriminating evidence.
He turned murder into a highly efficient nationwide operation.
By separating the murder, which was in Anchorage, from the evidence retrieval, the ATM chase, he just maximized his ability to operate undetected over these vast distances.
And the randomness, that means the number of his victims is probably much higher than what we know.
It's almost certain. He admitted to killing Samantha and an older couple in Vermont, but he took his own life in his jail cell in December 2012 before he named anyone else.
So the true scope is it's an unsettling mystery. The best guess, and this is based on a cryptic drawing he made in his cell, is around 11 victims.
And that randomness was his security. The only way to get him was to catch him in the act of recovering evidence, thousands of miles away from the actual crime.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, then, Keyes used technology, the ATMs, the cell phone, as tools for his deception. He forced law enforcement to chase this phantom ransom plot.
Yeah, his strategic detachment, which is really defined by that cross-country travel and the use of those hidden kill kits, that's what sets him apart. He was a geographically unbound predator.
It really raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about. Keyes was purely opportunistic, right? He was seeking random high-control attacks. So what does the evidence suggest about the kind of psychological state you'd need to maintain that double life? That a simple, mundane act, like ordering an Americano coffee, could instantly flip the switch for a 2-week kidnapping, murder, and high-security ransom plot, and that could be followed immediately by a family cruise. What stands out to you about the cold efficiency required to keep those two worlds so entirely separate?